Last episode, we bred up a bunch of the cutest new mobs in Minecraft. Just look at these fellas. And this is all in preparation for a proper sniffer farm at some time in the future. And look at this, we have 38 sniffer eggs so far, so we're doing well on that front. But we won't be playing with the sniffers today because what I want to do is extend this block here, and we do actually want to get another building on the side. And that means we need to do a little bit of landscaping before we can get started. But not only that, I want to build the building out of primarily granite, and we're also going to be using quartz. But the problem is, I have a surprisingly small amount of granite, and I'm probably going to need about 10 boxes, and, well, that's just clearly not going to cut it. Now, it is possible to craft granite, but the problem with that is you need loads and loads of nether quartz, which is something else I don't have loads of, and, well, I suppose I've got a bunch of diorite. And that means I guess we're starting off the day with a bit of a montage. We'll do some landscaping, we'll collect some granite, and then we're going to have a wonderful time building a new building, which is going to house a bamboo farm, because, of course, 120 has brought bamboo blocks with it. I think it's only fair that we have the ability to craft them. Not that we have anywhere to store them yet, but we'll solve that another day. For now, I'm going to grab a bunch of pickaxes, my beacon, and I should probably actually go and get some iron to build a beacon base with. And we're going to head to the mines on our starting island and see if we can find ourselves some granite. Just over an hour and a whole lot of pickaxe durability later, we've actually got a bunch of granite. We have just over 6 boxes here. That last one's only about half full, and I don't know if that's going to be enough, but I'm hoping it will. I think I might also take this polished stuff as well. This is probably going to come in handy. But that's not all we need. We also need a bunch of quartz, and to be honest, I don't know how much we've got. Not enough. Yeah, that's probably not enough. But we can solve that with some villager trading. Not a problem. Let's just buy a bunch more. And I guess we can fix our pickaxes up as well while we're here. But we got everything mended, and we got a whole bunch of quartz as well, so I'd say that was a success. However, we still need some jungle wood, and we don't really have much here, which means, I guess, we're going to go use our tree farm for a bit. 15 minutes at the farm, and we've got more than enough jungle wood for today, but the next thing is to clear some space for building, because we need to extend this road, which means I probably should have actually brought some deep slate and some andesite with me, so I guess we're going to have to go get some of that, and then we're going to mark out the plot for this build. And then from there, I guess we're going to try and work everything else out. I haven't really planned this one much beyond a colour palette. I reckon this could work. What I intend on doing is actually having the building stick out further than the one that's here, and it's going to be sat on pillars, so we've still got a nice wide path. It's going to kind of overhang at the top here with a lovely quartz bit at the bottom, which I think is going to be some kind of a cafe. I don't really know yet, and I have no idea what to do with this side of it yet either, but we'll probably put another shop of some kind in. For now, what I think I want to do is just try and get this building in. I've got an idea of how I want it to look. Let's see if we can pull it off. Well, would you look at that monstrosity? I think this is going to work. I really do like the shape of the building. I think the palette works well, and just the subtle details on the windows. But most importantly, we have this lovely area down the bottom here, which I think is going to work very well for a cafe. We'll probably have a pedestrianised bit out here, and that means we can have some tables and seating and that out the front as well. But anyway, enough about that. We'll get to this bit later. For now, what I want to do is get a floor in. You may notice we're actually missing the back wall there, and that's partly because I realised we didn't really need it, but mostly because I knew I was going to run out of granite. But before we go any further with the structure of the building itself, I think what I want to do is just get a floor in at this level here and start working out the bamboo farm. And for that, I'm going to keep it fairly basic. We're just going to use observers and pistons and a little bit of mud and some hoppers, and it should be fairly straightforward. But the problem with that is I don't think I have exactly what I need, which means we're heading back to storage to do some more scavenging, see what we can pull together. Although before we do that, we're actually going to go over to our world spawn, because obviously we've moved away from our starter island. We're suffering for iron quite a little bit. So what I did was I went over to world spawn and I did build an iron farm, and my hope is But that has actually been running for the last episode or so of recording, and that should hopefully mean we've got loads of iron. Well, I can see a golem burning, so that's a good sign. Well, we've got a good few chests of iron and some poppies as well, so that shouldn't be too bad. Let's just quickly stick these in for the bone meal. But if we quickly get all this turned into blocks, hopefully it's going to be enough for today's project. Well, that should be more than enough iron, but I have just used my last rocket, so let's hope we can glide our way home. And then we need to head off to storage. We need to collect all the other bits and bobs, and I guess I'll see you back over at the city once we've got everything together. Oh, it turns out I do still have a bunch of rockets in my hotbar after all. Didn't even notice. I think I have everything I need for a very simple but incredibly large bamboo farm, but first we need a platform to build it on, so let's get this flooring up the top here. Oh, geez. If I can learn to fly. And I think we're just going to go for a simple jungle wood plank floor for now. There we go. We have a massive platform to be working on, and I think we're just going to start building up these farms. They should be fairly straightforward to do. I'm just deciding which way I want them to face. I think I'm going to do them lengthways like this, and let's just crack on and get these done. As I say, they're fairly straightforward farms. The first thing we need to do is just put in a whole line of hoppers. And then we're going to use mud on top of those because, as we know from our fungus farm, hoppers can pick up stuff that lands on mud blocks, and it means we don't have to worry about minecart hoppers and those sorts of things. And if we put a row of blocks along there and do the same thing on the other side, I've made a right mess of this. There we go, something like that. And then we just stick a whole bunch of pistons on this side. And once again, same on the other. And we need a block for the redstone to sit on. So what I think I'm going to do is just use the white wool here, although that's going to be quite bright on the outside. Yeah, I think I'm going to use the terracotta instead, just so it blends in a bit better. We don't want this thing sticking out like a sore thumb after all. And then we just need observers pointing inwards with the redstone on the back, and that is pretty much the farm. Like I said, very basic. I would, however, prefer it if all the bamboo didn't escape when it got broken, however, so what we're going to do is actually encase all this a little bit. And in fact, if we utilize a bit of glass, we might even be able to make this look nice. And then we're just going to dump a bunch of lights on top so that the bamboo can grow nice and quickly. Let's tidy up the front of this bit a little bit as well, although there's not really much we can do, I suppose. We can do a little bit. Maybe some jungle stairs in front of the chest for now. I haven't quite figured out what we're going to do for storage. For now, we'll just collect it in individual chests, but we do, of course, need to link all that together as well. But we'll wait until we've got all the farms in first. And in fact, I should probably plant some bamboo, otherwise this thing isn't going to produce anything. Beautiful. First module's done, and it's already... Wow, this thing's quick. It's already firing. Look at that. Beautiful. So once these have started growing properly, we will, of course, get a little bit of loss just because bamboo will land on the stalks that are already there. But with the amount we're going to be getting, I don't think a little loss is going to bother us too much. And in fact, I think I'm actually going to change the outside of this. I think green might look a bit nicer. So now we've got one module in. What we can actually do is share the same strip of redstone that we've actually got here. And we can put another one directly on the back. At least that's my plan. I'm sure it'll work out fine. Wow, it's getting a bit dark, isn't it? I should probably go to bed. And now I'm well rested. Let's get a whole bunch more of these modules in. Time lapse. Made some really good progress, but I appear to have run out of pistons, and that means I'm also going to run out of everything else because I kind of made the same amount of everything. Yeah, we need a bunch more, but we do have an entire floor now of bamboo farms. They are kicking out the bamboo. Look at this, marvelous. And I do want to do this floor as well. And then we need to figure out the storage, and I think it's safe to say we're going to be needing shulker loaders for this one. But once it's done, we'll never have to use real wood for chests and hoppers again. We can just use bamboo instead. That's quite enough for that whistling dude, and I think we're just about done here. We've got 8 of these modules set up now. We have 4 on this floor, and of course 4 on the floor below. And then we've got loads and loads of space above, which, to be honest, I don't really have any plans for, so we might have to come up with something at some point, just so it doesn't look weird when you look in the windows. But now these farms are in, we can focus on the ground floor. We do, of course, still need to sort out the storage. We have 8 individual double chests at the moment, but as you can see, they're going to be filling up fairly quickly, so we definitely are going to need a lot more storage, which we will put down here. And then we also need to design the floor down here, which, as I say, I think is going to be a cafe of some kind. We're going to try and utilize some of the bamboo blocks. We may even use some of the new chiseled bookshelves as well. I don't really know. I haven't done a single bit of planning for this, so we're just going to wing it and see what we can come up with. But I think the very first thing I need to do is try and get a floor in here and actually see what we're working with. And some better walls to hide all the granite will be good too. In fact, before we go and do that, I'm going to quickly grab a whole bunch of bamboo. I'm going to make up some of the blocks. and see what we can do to actually integrate some of these into the build, because I have absolutely no idea what these look like, really. So we can get blocks of bamboo. Marvelous. We can get bamboo planks. And then all the usual things that you'd expect. Bamboo rafts as well. Let's have a look at the doors and trapdoors. Oh, and it looks like we have bamboo mosaic as well, which is made from slabs. Right, okay. Well, it looks like we've got quite the selection of bamboo blocks here, actually. There's like a stripped version of the sort of main block, I guess, and then you've got the normal planks, you've got these mosaic ones, and I really actually quite like the fence posts as well. It's the simple things. And of course, we have chiseled bookshelves, which have a very cool pattern on the sort of the back, the sides, the top, and everything. So yeah, let's have a little play around and see what we can do in here to make use of some of these. I think we might be onto something here. I'm not 100% sold yet, but I'm liking the combination. So we've actually got green terracotta at the back here. I wanted to have a completely different section for kind of where the storage is. We might make it look a little bit like a sort of a book nook, I guess, for the calf. And yeah, most of that space behind the wall there is probably going to be for the shulker loaders. And then I've used a combination of green concrete, the greenish bamboo blocks, as well as some of the fences and posts and things, just to kind of try and create some interest on this back wall, because this is where the main counter's going to be, as you can probably tell from what I've done on the floor here. So here I've just used mainly oak and some of the new bookshelves, just to kind of line the main walkway. And then we're going to have seating in these areas over here, and we're probably going to have to bust a door out the back here as well at some point. I've also made use of some of the bamboo hanging signs here. They actually create like a solid barrier, and I think, to be honest, they look quite nice. And with the small hint of green in, they're a nice tie-in between the oak and the bamboo green blocks here. But now I've got to figure out the rest of the interior. I'd say this is coming along quite nicely, although we do still need to sort out the back, but we'll get to that in a minute. So what I've done here is I've just used the scaffolding as the tables. I've tried to bring the bamboo theme into the actual calf itself, and of course using things like the plant pots, and there will be some sea pickles. I just haven't gone to got any yet. Just little things like that on the table bring it to life. I've also got my little sandwich cabinet here. I want to go bake a cake and stick that on the edge here, and these sort of crisp bins, I guess. So, you know, where you grab the bags of crisps from when you're picking up your meal deal. Look at this, it's all in here. And I particularly like the roof as well. I've just used some dark oak fence, and I've mixed up the lights a little bit. And outside we've also got the al fresco area as well, and it's under a bit of shelter because I'm assuming this is in the UK and it's probably going to be raining, so that's going to be helpful. But now it's time to sort out the storage before we can do the top level here, and for that we're going to put in a shulker loader. And I think our best bet, if I can get up the janky stairs there, our best bet is probably to put a shulker loader under here, so I'm in this corner this side, and then we can just feed everything down into it. The question is, can I remember how to build a shulker loader? So I think this is where we're going to have the collection chests for the shulkers, which means we're going to need to feed everything into here. And this is going to be the starting point for our shulker loader. Let's see if we can remember how to do this. So I think we do something like that with a comparator, and we'll stick a thing there. In fact, that's not going to work. We need a little bit more space, so let's move this back by a block. There we go, because then we've got the 2 bits of redstone dust there. And if I remember correctly, we need observers in next. So we do an observer like that. We do an observer like that. Temporary block there, because that's where the shulkers are going to be. And that's where we're going to load up the shulkers. So this is looking right so far, but here comes the bit that I always get wrong. So we need a combination of like droppers and dispensers and all sorts around this bit. I think it's a dispenser that way, then a dropper that way, and then we'll stick a hopper on the back. This is where we're going to load in the empty shulker boxes. In fact, we'll pull that back by another one because we need to put a sticky piston there. I think that's in the right place. And then we have another observer there. And in fact, I've done this all a little bit wrong again. Let me quickly just move these. We don't need these like this at all. It was actually right the first time round. I just used the wrong blocks. So if we do that, and put the hopper back in, and then we'll put the comparator on the hopper, I think that's how it's supposed to be. And then once again, we'll put the dispenser there, put the dropper there, hopper in the back of that, sticky piston on top of that hopper, and then we put another observer looking into that one. And I think that's the whole thing. I think we'll do a quick test though. We've got plenty of shulkers out here, so that shouldn't be a problem. I'm going to put the almost full shulker box in there. And I'm going to put an empty one in there as if it had come through the feed pipe. And then when I put this one down, this one should break straight away. Then this one should load up with what's in there. Once it's full, it should break. And then we should end up with an empty one. If it all goes to plan. But, well, we'll see. No, it's already broken because I've forgotten to put my redstone torch on. Classic Beardy. We've also forgotten to replace the observer here, so that was just never going to work, really, was it? Let's be honest. So let's get that in. Let's stick our redstone torch on the side of that, and we'll try that test again. Hopefully it'll work this time. Oh, wait a minute. I need to quickly reset this first because I've just added the torch. Oh, my days. Right, now it should work this time. Let's give it another test. So put the full one in first. That got broken straight away. Now that one should be getting filled up with the stuff from there. That seems to be the case. Excellent. Signs are looking good so far. And there we go. Just as that emptied, it broke. We've got the fresh one there, and the full one has gone into there. Perfect. So this thing's going to work an absolute treat. We just need to link it up to everything else. And of course, we need to make it look good. An hour or so later, and we are finished. And this place is looking awesome. I love how it's come out. I've even managed to get the cakes in, look. But at the back here, I've had great success hiding things away. We've got like a little sort of reading library type nook. We've got some paintings hanging up. We've even got flower pots. But most importantly, all of our bamboo comes into these two chests. And as you can see, it's working a treat. We've already got 5 shulker boxes of bamboo just in the hour or so I've been standing here doing this. And if we go upstairs, I've not really done anything up here apart from put somewhere where we can actually load some shulkers and, well, a whole bunch of shulkers. Of course, we can just make the chests out of the bamboo that comes out of this, so it should be fairly easy to keep restocking. I just need to sort out the rest of this bit. I've got a little bit of tidying to do on the upstairs, but the downstairs, that's looking amazing. I'm actually really pleased with how it's come out, and in particular, I do actually like these living walls we've got on the side here. I think that's what they're called, so, you know, got all the foliage in there as well. I've tried to bring the bamboo feel kind of down here and the outside in, so to speak. I sound like a proper interior designer. But I also brought the inside out with this deck here, which I think works really well. And on this wall here, I've just got some air conditioning units, some kind of industrial-y bits going on. And this wall I've just not done anything with, because let's be honest, we're going to be sticking out of the building here, so there's no need. And with that, there's just one thing left to do, and it's not over here. Last episode, we got ourselves a camel, and I asked you all for names of what we should call him, and there were lots and lots of suggestions for Humphrey. There were quite a few suggestions for Carl as well for some reason. And some of the suggestions I shall not be repeating on a family-friendly channel. You know who you are. But one name that did stand out was Larry Longlegs. What an amazing name. And that actually came from Mrs. B. I swear it's not favoritism, it was just the best name. But I'm not going to call a camel with one hump Humphrey. Doesn't make sense. But don't you panic, there's still a whole army of sniffers we're going to be naming later on. I hope you have enjoyed today's episode, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye now.